Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ashafil anbiya wal mursaleen nabiyina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Inspired by Islam. MashaAllah, we have amazing guest for you guys and for me too. I'm very honored to have Brother Delroy. Alhamdulillah, I was honored because before his Shahada, he came to me, and MashaAllah, it was a pleasure to take him for Shahada, inshallah. So that's why I feel very honored. Welcome, and we are bringing lots of new Muslim brothers and people from other faith just to share how they inspired by Islam. So without any delay, let's introduce Brother Delroy. Welcome to our show.
Walaikum salam. My name is Delroy Kelly. Nice to meet you all.
So brother, people are probably wants to know how long you've been Muslim, or how did you decide to become Muslim?
I've been Muslim since this year, March. The 17th, to be exact. I've been looking to Islam for quite some time. Before I took Shahada, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years.
Oh, mashallah. So you've done a lot of research based on...
Yeah, and like I've always been surrounded by people that were Muslim, but it wasn't really of interest to me, like until, for example, I met a specific brother. His name was Ahmed, and he always used to pray. Like, we go to play football on the weekends. He used to stop. We wait for him, and he used to pray. And I used to say to myself, I was like, "Oh, what's this brother doing?" I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, and I used to say to my friends, I was say to them, I was like, "Why are we waiting?" He's like, "Oh, he's doing his salads." And I was like, "Okay." So after that, then I started googling. It's like, what's salah? What's this? And then obviously when I was at school, learned about the 5 pillars of Islam. But that was some time ago, so obviously forgot about that. And from there, that's when my interest started peaking. Bought my first Quran off Amazon. First time I read it. I think the first book I've ever seen that was back to front. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that was for me that was a bit strange, but it was alright. And then I took the step. I went to the East London Mosque the first time. You were there as well, I believe, yeah.
Mashallah.
Done the little tour. Brothers
you remember
there.
when I took you for a tour? What did I talk about? Do you remember that was? Because I was showing you in the world that there's a prophethood, so we believe in the prophets.
Yeah.
And I was saying, look, all those big prophets like Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Jacob, and others, they have a similar belief. They believe in one Creator, and they worship one Creator. Did you have any other faith before Islam? Did you practice any other faith?
I was Christian, so church like every Sunday. Sometimes we go on Tuesdays or Thursdays as well. When my parents used to go out to preach, used to go along with them as well. So,
how was it for you? In church, how was it for you? Didn't you feel because you left that religion you used to your family? So why did you think you needed to go to Islam?
For me, it wasn't really my religion. It was more of my parents' religion. It's like something that you was born into, and some of the teachings that were in the Bible, I didn't really believe it. If you know what I mean. When I looked into, for example, Islam, it is more towards what I believe and what I believe a person, how I believe a person should live their life. And
give us an example if you can, like Islam made sense to you, how it made
for example, when it comes to drinking, where it doesn't allow drinking, like I've seen a lot of people that they get drunk, like I know family members as well, what can happen when people drink, and also, for example, certain foods that I didn't know about. I was like, oh, why is it not allowed to eat this type of food? And I look into it, I look up to it, and then you see all the negatives towards eating those various foods. And whereas before, you didn't really think about it. You just go in the supermarket, you pick something up, and you don't look at the packet to see what the negatives could be. So I think...
How about the faith itself, like you believe in a Creator and all that?
Yeah, definitely.
How did that adjust with you? Because...
I've always believed in a Creator. It's just that, for me, the one that was prescribed in the Christian faith, it wasn't the one that I thought was correct. You know, it wasn't the one that I thought was right. It didn't, like, you know, when you feel something inside, it just didn't feel right to me.
Cool. After your Shahada, how was the feeling on that day? Tell me about that day. I know you first time we met you, and then you used to text me, brother, I want to know about Salah. I want to know about Salah. And few appointments you missed. And I lost, honestly, I lost it. I said, oh my God, the brother, come on, what are you doing? Okay. And then the day you said, I'm going to come on that day, a Saturday it was, and it was exhibition day, mashallah, when you came.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
When you came and you looked fresh, and he said to me, and I took you for a little tour, and I'll give it to the other brother too. And within 3-4 minutes, or 5 minutes probably, he said, I want to do Shahada. So tell me at that moment, how was it for you?
I know, it's like...
Because you know what, you're leaving your former faith, you're moving into something new, and also exciting is like you think this is the right one. It's like you found a lottery, or lottery is not a nice example, but imagine you found something really, you found the creator, to be honest. So how was it for you?
For me, it was exciting. It was emotional, but for me, I'm a person, I can hide my emotions quite well.
Why is it emotional?
I don't know, you just get overcome with like joy. It's not...
Mashallah.
I think a way you can like explain it is like the first time, I don't know, you meet like a nephew or cousin, and you're like, oh, you feel that love and feeling towards them. It's like that, and it's like if there's something good, why wait till tomorrow or next day? Grasp it, you know, take it on that day rather than wait.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So imagine if you could describe, so when you went home, did you manage to convince your parents, or did you tell them that from today I've done my Shahada, I'm a Muslim, I'm not going to have certain things I will change?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
How did they take it?
My mum at first, she didn't really know what to say. She was like...
Was she shocked?
Yeah, she was a bit skeptical, and then she started inviting me to church, which really she didn't really do that much before.
Okay.
And but when she realised that I'm not going to go to church with her, and then my sister as well, like she was like, oh, what are you doing today? Like, you know, we have the Friday classes, and I was like, and sometimes what normally would happen, because I'll babysit for her on the weekends, my nephew and little brother, so she would pick me up either from work or at home to go over. She lives in Gravesend, so just outside of London, and I'd babysit for her. And I was like, oh, sorry, I can't today because I'm at the masjid. And she's like, what's the masjid? I was like, the mosque, you know. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she'll ask like, how is it? How you going? And then she ask like, are you praying and stuff like that. So for me, the majority of my family has been very supportive. When it came to, for example, Ramadan, my mum prepared meals for me, so on. And like there's separate sections in the fridge for me now. Like for example, my mum, she still eats pork and other non-halal foods, so it'll be separate from my stuff. So,
mashallah, really, that's amazing.
Yeah,
brother,
so
man.
it's good. Like even now,
you're lucky, brother. You know, a lot of our brothers who became Muslim, they're having a really terrible time. Some of them.
Yeah,
I remember this brother. He became Muslim, and his mother actually put water in his bed and said, "You're not going to sleep here tonight because." You left that religion. So they're facing this kind of issues. They've been kicked out of their house just because of the faith. Yeah. And I think sometimes we overdo it. You know, it's emotionally, but sometimes we overdo it. But still, we as a Muslim, we need to show our respect for our parents and everybody else. You can understand why they're doing this. You know, they probably think you went somewhere very wrong. You're going towards something really disastrous. That's why they, according to their understanding and thinking, that's what they try to save. So we've got to understand their feelings as well at the same time, but we also reply with the respect. When it comes to dealing with families, outside families or external families, did you have any difficulties facing them?
Specifically, like with my family, we're quite large. We have a WhatsApp group, so not everybody, but most people that use smartphones and so on, we're on a WhatsApp group. So people from England, all parts of England, America and Jamaica as well.
Wow.
So we talk about daily life. If there's a new family member, we post photos and everything. That's where, for example, where I basically said, oh yeah, today I'm Muslim. And it went down well for, I would say, a couple of months. It's only recently I had 2 family members that are saying that they're a bit skeptical. They'll be like, oh, did anyone force you into it? And I was like, of course not. I was like, I've been thinking about this for years. For me, my reply is that you have to live your life for yourself, what you think is best for you, and what you think is the correct path of where you want to go. And for me, that's Islam. Even my mom, she noticed that I'm a lot calmer now. Certain stuff that I used to do, I don't do. People that I used to get up to, bad things with, let's say. I don't hang out with them anymore. If they don't want to change, then I don't want to be part of that crowd, because you can end up doing stuff that will end up getting you into trouble. That would be haram or with the law, etc. My mum always used to tell me when I was little is that bad association spoils useful habits, meaning that if you got good habits, the bad company that you're with can spoil those, because you start taking on traits of that person that you that there's peoples that you associate with. So I started dropping certain people, started hanging out more with Islamic brothers, but also people that I know that are not Islamic, but they have let's say decent views. They're not doing anything illegal, etc.
So, you know, like, so what do you do for a living? I forgot to ask you. What do you
I'm
do
a
for
fabric technician, so it's mostly I'm plumbing biased, but it's a bit of carpentry, painting, decorating, mechanical, tiling, plastering. So it's a bit of everything, all rounder.
Like in your age, I'm assuming you're very young as well. In your age, a lot of people actually goes to a nightclub, drinking, whatever, binging, whatever they're doing, womanizing, all that stuff. But you actually left. You actually moved away from that. I don't know if you've done it before, but you left or moved away from it, and you want to please your Creator. How do you feel? It's just like, you know, you left lots of things which people think are, this is what the life about. Enjoy your life, you know, have a drink, go out with the women. You know, that's how they people's life, how they seen it in dunya. But you're not doing that. You actually, you are going to do it. I mean, you're going to get married, halal married, and all that stuff. But I'm saying, how do you? What kind of feelings do you get when you pray? And how do you think that you're not left everything? You found something better. How do you?
I think prayer for me, you feel more strengthened, especially sometimes when you're having a hard day. Like where you mentioned temptation and so on. Like a lot of those things that you mentioned, I used to do that in the past. You know, when you cut them out, there's always that temptation to go back. When you pray, it like reinforces your spirituality. It makes you stronger. I think it's also when you get closer to Allah, it makes it easier for you to resist all of those temptations. And then also when you look at I can't remember I believe the brother became a prophet. He used to be a drunkard, he used to be a gambler. I was reading about him. And
I don't think we have any prophets been drinking. They wouldn't do it because they've been probably one of the
ex before, and then he
maybe
he
one of the
changed his
scholars,
ways.
or maybe one of
scholars.
something like this.
And then when he took Shahada and he became Muslim, how he changed his life around and how he bettered himself. And I just look at that and I see that as inspiration for myself. You know, it doesn't matter what background you came from or what you did in the past. You can always, it's never too late to change and try and improve yourself and bring yourself closer to Allah.
That's brilliant. Okay, one more. It's a personal question. So I'm sure you had before you had relationship with the women, right? So as soon as you become Muslim, how they taking it? Did they take it easy? Did they say, "Oh my God, we're not going to have him anymore"? Or how was it for you? Did they complain?
I mean, most of them, they're quite understanding. I've never really had a problem in that background, but there was I think it was like a week and a half ago, and it happens now and then. I was walking, this is my local area in Woolwich, and a sister approached me, and she was asking for my number, and I said to her, I was like, "No, sorry, I don't date." And she's like, "Oh, why?"
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah. I don't date anymore, and she's like, "Oh, why?" I was like, "Oh, I'm Muslim, and secondly, you're not even you're not Muslim." And then she replied by saying that Muslim men are allowed to date non-Muslim women, like to see non-Muslim. And I was like, dating is not allowed in Islam, but even if she was non-Muslim, she would have to be practicing Jewish or Christian, which you're not.
Okay.
And also, and I said, me personally, I wouldn't go with a non-believer for the simple fact that there's plenty of Muslim sisters to get married to. So why would I make my life a bit more difficult by marrying someone from a different religion? And then you might have religion clashes. You never know what problems can develop later on. Whereas if you marry a sister, you have one belief. You know, it's the same. And also, I think that person, your partner that you marry, should help you become closer to Allah. So if there is the same religion, it's a lot better.
MashaAllah. That's brilliant. I think that's a good answer as well. You know, when we say, when you were young, can I ask you, go back to young, did you ever thought like that you would be a Muslim? Did you ever come across your mind that...
Not really.
Okay, what we see in the media, normally when you see things in the media and you think this religion is really harsh, this religion is very, you know, tough, man. They fast for a month, they pray 5 times. Did that bother you? Did that make you look like, oh, I can't do these things?
Not really, because I grew up around a lot of Muslims.
Okay.
I would say my circle, at least, even before I took Shahada, my circle at least was like 70% Muslims. So
what was your expectation from the Muslim community then after your Shahada? What was your expectation? Because you know a lot of them now. So what's your expectation from them? And do you think they fulfilling their expectation?
Yeah, I've said most of them.
Because we have also crazy Muslims, remember?
Yeah, even before I took Shahada, I used to, like some of them when they break their fast, I used to catch them with like, why is there a bit of food in your teeth? And it was like, you know, and when you have someone around you that's also Muslim, it helps you because sometimes you have, you might want to do something that you did in your past that might have been haram, and then they might, Delroy or Ahmed, you shouldn't do that, you know, it's haram. And then that helps you to keep on the straight and narrow. Whereas if it was someone that's not Muslim, that they didn't see anything wrong with it, you know, you can just slowly stray off to that, rather than stray off to the left or the right, rather than keeping on the straight and narrow.
You know, when you read Quran, do you find it difficult to understand Quran?
Certain things, yeah.
Yeah, because you know what, I think Quran is the only book, actually, like you said, he talks about something and he jumps to something else.
Yeah.
And he comes back again, he goes again, he comes back again. So Quran is the only book we believe that different than the other books. Because other books are written in the man wrote the book for men. And Quran is a divine book. So it's, a lot of scholars are saying, look, because it's more like a ring composition, you know, like if you link it up, so this is the ring. So, you know, for example, say Surah Baqarah, yeah. So it starts from faith in the first chapter. It's a 9 chapters, right? So it starts from faith and actually end up with a faith and disobeying as well. Faith and non-faith. Faith. So in the beginning is the faith, at the end he talks about also faith and non-faith. So if you start from, if you don't finish it off, you don't get the whole juice. Yeah. Then in the next chapter he talks about Allah's creation. And from the other side, the last second, he talks about Allah's creation. See how it's linked up. So one ring,
so you have to finish,
then ring, then another ring, then third one talks about the law. The Moses was given law to give to his followers. The Muhammad was given law to ask his followers. See, he talks about the law. But it's third and the last third. First third and the last third. It's another ring. It's 3 rings. Then at the end he talks about delivering the law. And in the middle, and he said, it's exactly in the middle. He says, you are the middle nation. Exactly. So when the Prophet used to recite, he was reciting in this order. And that surah, actually, I think in more than about 10 years, it was bits come here, bits in Medina, bits in Makkah. So when you read it, you've got to finish the whole thing, then you will understand what's going on.
So you can get the full picture.
Yeah, you get the full picture. So it's everything in your finger. So when you read it, subhanAllah, you get everything. You don't miss out. And if you go like the normal book, like the human book, it's a story, beginning, end, and then you start. You don't know what's happening at the end. So maybe you end, you'll read it probably whenever you can. But in the Quran, it's not like that. So you'll get the whole picture there. It talks about forgiveness. It talks about love. It talks about justice. It talks about freedom. Everything in one go. You see it, bit, and then you go do your own research. And also in other places you will find that when they wrote these things, they didn't know which way to put it. It wasn't planned. It was a God plan. That's his own word. And nowadays we know that, subhanAllah, a lot of scientists are saying this book can't be written by a human being. It can't be. Because it's never been like that. So for example, let me show you. So he talks about life 145 times. Also he talks about death 145 times. Can you imagine the balance he talks about? Life is important. Death is also important to think about because there's another life afterwards.
Jannah.
Who counted those things? 145 times each ways. Then he talks about, now people are counting because people are more clever. They want to know what's in the Quran. So another place he talks about hereafter 115 times, but he also talks about 115 times about dunya. See the balance?
Yeah.
He talks about shaitan 11 times. Also, 11 times he talks about take the refuge from the shaitan to Allah. Take the refuge in Allah from the shaitan. So it's amazing thing. So once we go into that details and study in that depth, then you will find subhanallah amazing. Because no one can write this book. This is only from divine. So that's how you read the Quran actually. So you try to finish it off, then you get the whole juice. Or even to understand the Islam, you got to read the whole book to understand it. Otherwise, you're going to pick and choose. Pick and choose. Your friends before your Shahada, are they still your friends?
A lot of them, yeah. It's only certain people that have dropped out due to their bad influence on me that I know they might lead me astray. But everybody else, yeah, they're still my friends.
Do you think it's worth it that you left a lot of things? You left,
yeah,
made
definitely.
a lot of people unhappy, but you found.
I mean,
peace
I'm
within
still.
yourself. Do you think it's worth it?
I'm still friendly towards them because a lot of them, they live in my area. So when I see them, I say, "Hi, how are you? How's your parents, etc." But it's just outside of that. Hi, how are you? How you doing? I wouldn't associate them due to what they do. But for example, if they stop doing that, then yeah, we could still hang out, go football, cinema.
Did you know that in Quran mentioned 24 times women and 24 times men?
No.
Amazing.
I haven't got to that yet.
See the balance. It's amazing. It's the equality. It's the equal rights. It's a beautiful thing. But somehow there are a lot of misunderstanding about Islam, or probably the way we represent Islam in other places. Maybe we don't do it effectively. I don't know.
I think it's where they have certain agendas, so they cherry pick certain parts, but they don't tell you the full story. For example, it's like if I'm telling you a story, and then I want you to think a certain way, I could take out certain parts of that story and then leave out certain parts. Whereas if you get the full picture, like you said, you have to read the whole Quran to get the full picture.
In other places, he talks about the month, only mentioned 12 times. Can you imagine? We have a 12th month in there.
Yeah.
In Quran, we're talking about 1400 years ago. Can you imagine that? We never thought about it. Now people are counting to see how many times it was mentioned. Only mentioned 12 times the month. And it was mentioned the days in 365 times. Days. So we've got to link it up to make that beautiful thing and more beautiful. So you're not married yet, right?
No, I'm not.
I know the sisters are lining up for you. So, what do you look into your partner? What do you look into them?
Are you talking about spiritually, physically, or?
No, Islamically, what do you look into? Islamically, first thing you look into the faith and the practice, and they say, of course, the looks, and then it's the rest of them. But first thing is, you say because you gotta, like you said before, if your faith and both the partners got the same faith and both practice,
the bond will be a lot stronger.
It takes you, because your next generation will be followers as well. Remember, your kids and everybody, you bring something special. So they are your gift. So you got to give them something together. It's important.
Yeah.
So what do you look into that? How was that before? Before your faith becoming Muslim, what were you looking into the women?
To be honest, it was mostly physical attributes. It wasn't. I didn't really look into their spirituality. I never wanted someone that drank alcohol. I did want someone that dressed modestly, like not too provocative.
So you always had that in your mind?
That's what I was saying before, that the way my mindset and how I see the way I should live my life and so on, is more in line with Islam. Someone that's respectful, family orientated, someone that's close to their family. Someone ideally where their parents are still together, so the mother and father.
MashaAllah.
Because it shows like one household rather than having one living there and one living there.
Okay, we don't have much time left. Delroy, what would you like to say to our young viewers watching? Because there are a lot of young people probably not practicing Muslims, and people who are thinking about becoming Muslim. What would you say to them within 1 minute to our viewers?
I would say if you're not a Muslim yourself, and if you're thinking about it, just do your own research. If someone's saying something negative, then you should always look for the positive. If you're unsure of something that someone said to you, go to your local masjid, your local mosque. There will always be someone there willing to help, whether it's to give you a book that can explain to you. Like, for example, we have a Muslim group on WhatsApp where whenever I have any questions myself, I just shoot into the chat, and the brother here is always there to help me out. Whenever I have any questions, direct me to the correct passage in the Quran that will answer my question. And also, if you're a practicing Muslim, you should always be striving to better yourself in Islam, getting to know Allah and coming closer to Him. And you should really use the Prophet Muhammad as an example, because he's the perfect example that is sent for us. And if you're following those steps, even if you stray away, you always find your way back to Allah.
Jazakumullah khair for your time, brother, and thank you for accepting our invitation to this show. And I really feel honored that you came. Inshallah, I hope to have you back again, inshallah. Dear brothers and sisters, we have heard what Delroy had to say. Mashallah, it's amazing messages giving it to the world. And like you said, if you are practicing, you got to serve more and make your life beautiful again. Of course, this is very important to make your life better here for the hereafter. If we said anything wrong, please do forgive us. Inshallah, make dua for us, and we'll make dua for you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.